First thing about deep tech is typically it tends to be a world of B2B. It's very rare that you have deep tech that goes direct to the consumer, either as a D2C or a B2C, because the nature of deep tech is that it takes a lot of time to develop the solution. It may be hardware, software, or a combination of hardware and software. And getting that embedded into a value chain, a value proposition for the customers is typically part of some kind of a business, value proposition to the end customer. So it may be, industrial IoT, it may be creating medical devices. It can be quite a many of those, but they are not typically reaching the end consumer's hands, but it goes through another business before the benefits reach the end consumers. So in a world of B2B, there are certain things that we need to understand how that world behaves. Typically, B2Bs have a slower growth rate because they're engaging with businesses, and it takes much longer to prove the value. There'll be POCs and pilots, and the businesses have a certain way of working. They need to understand why they should take the startup's solution and put it as part of their value proposition, value chain, and make sure that they are getting sufficient benefits from that disruption, if you may so call it, in order to be able to say, yes, I'm willing to spend money on this because it really gives me a clear step up in the value proposition I see. It's not just a tiny incremental value that I'm looking at. Once a business gets convinced, then the value proposition becomes stronger and the startup begins to find a market penetration. But the challenge is in this opening up of the B2B market. It's typically through proof of concepts, pilots, and so on and so forth. The second thing is when you're dealing with technologies, deep tech stuff, whether it is hardware or software, if it is hardware, such as sensors, special type of, equipment that works better, putting it together, or a hardware software combination where the software is bringing in additional power like AI or ML, and you put it all together. You take automation or robotics. These are classic examples, even IoT for that matter. The challenge is your development cycles tend to be much longer. We like to say that in the deep tech world, the physical meets the digital. If you take a fintech, it's basically electrons flying around. It's a digital world. But here, the physical equipment and the application of that equipment, it has to be used in a physical sense. It meets the digital world. And most of the industries are in that world. So the challenges that the startups face are quite different. And the kind of investors who are ready to understand the longer sales cycles, which in turn implies that the ability for this company to grow, the growth rates will be slower. The hockey stick will not be as sharp as expected. And on top of it, the ROI, the time for generating the returns, all of them get stretched. And, because the scale is also a little bit different, you're not measuring your consumers in millions as in a B2C, but you're probably measuring your consumers in hundreds and thousands, which are the companies that you're selling your solution to. Therefore, put all these things together, you begin to see that the B2B, the challenges are quite different. And the investor mentality, the mindset with which the investor comes to a B2B is also very different. They need to have a clear understanding so that there is no misunderstanding later. That's the kind of alignment of thought process that not only the startup team, but who they are going and bringing in as investors, bringing in as advisors, that entire team has to share that mindset. This is one of the key things. And as I already mentioned, the returns in the deep tech world definitely are of a different order of magnitude. May not be your, people dream of 30x, 50x, but often it may be in the order of 5x, 10x, which is still a fantastic return, but it's over a longer period of time, thereby diluting your IRRs.